You behave. Oh, hello. Sorry, I was just collecting my beverages. I'm waiting for people to trickle in. Ugh. Good day. Hello. Bonjour. How's it going? You're the only one in here, so how's life? You enjoying the weather? Is it cold where you are? It's cold. It's cold here, I'll tell you that. Very cold here. It's been a couple days where it's been negative 50 here the last couple days. Negative 50. Close to zero. Jeez. I wish it was that warm. I'm gonna have to go change my shirt. I have a stain on my shirt from where I had gumbo the other day. I thought this was clean. Apparently I pulled it out of the dirty pile. I'm sitting here looking like a bum. I'll be get one of my other short sleeve sweatshirts. Oop. What are you doing, Moose? Behave. Quit being so rambunctious. Shit. Ugh. Yeah, it's been negative 50 here until basically today. Today is the first day where it got to, that's negative 50 Fahrenheit, by the way. So that's over negative, it's almost negative, what, 40, 44 Celsius here? It's been cold. It's been really cold. Hello. Greetings, everyone. What are you doing, Kat? What's everyone been up to? I didn't stream yesterday. Sunday is my only day off the week as a federal employee. So I took that Sunday to kind of relax, clean, and do some stuff. I'm thinking of a place somewhere in here. This place isn't very big. So I have to find a good place to film videos. And I'll probably be doing that Sunday. All this coming Sunday, I'll probably be filming videos for the channel because it's been a while since I put out a video. I've already got some scripts written for some guns, of which there's a lot of guns. A lot of guns I haven't done yet. So I just mounted a scope on one today. I just put a vintage thing. It was made in '89. The scope was 89 gloss Leupold 4.5 to 14 on my. Oh, cat's messing with the door jamb. I am. I'm living in the United States, so. Been doing a lot of 32 ACP pistol shopping. It's my favorite pistol round. So there's a lot of them out there. Big fan of the 32 ACP. A lot of people give me crap for carrying a 32 ACP handgun. I really like my 32 ACP handguns. But 32 ACP has killed 100% more Hitlers than any other pistol round. I'm just saying. So it's also started 2 world wars. That's starting more world wars than any other pistol round. I'm just saying. So 32 ACP is the round that changes the world. So that's the round that I carry. Just saying. Historically, if you want to look at the round that changes the most history, it's the 32 ACP 7.65 Browning. that weak little thing. It's my favorite pistol round by a lot, actually. Hey, Moosey, what are you doing? Come here. Purrs. No, he got shot by a 32. The model of pistol 32. They also made that model in 380, but Alexi's here. Greetings, salutations. Are you enjoying the weather, Alexi? Is it nice and cold over there like it is here? It's like negative 44 Celsius here. So it's been cool. I work outside most days. Most of the day I'm outside. 6 days a week I spend about 10 hours outside. It's got really cold here. It was really, really nice. It was a mild winter up until this last week. This last week, very mild, very pleasant. Couldn't complain. A little bit of snow every now and then. Like we've had a couple heavy snowfalls where we got like probably 10, 11 centimeters in one day of snow. But that's fair. Yeah, we're having a big issue with that. Me as a federal employee, we're having a big issue with that right now with all the protests and the very heavy ice presence right now. And the governor is not handling it the best. So I tend to stay out of the politics, especially here in my home state, because my home state's pretty liberal, and I'm not the most liberal person, but I don't think it's being handled well on either side, to be honest. But, so I'm staying out of it. I'm just handgun shopping, for a new 32 ACP handgun. I'm thinking one of those C camps. Either want to get one of those C camps or what's the other one? The North American Arms, those little 6-shot 32 ACP, tiny, tiny, tiny little things. That's what I'm thinking. It's been a while. It has been a long time. Well, it's because I've moved twice. I just got internet like last week. Like literally just got internet like last week. Because I live in the middle of nowhere now. And it's like a 15-minute commute to town. So I live out in the country, so it was a hard time getting internet. I'm thinking about it. There's a lot of 32s out there I really like. I would very much like a lot of 32s. But Caltech already makes those little 32s, But it's like more people need to make 32s. Well, I have pretty much all the helmets I can realistically own. And it's kind of the ones that I want, that I will absolutely buy if they come along, are few and far between. So don't really have any new helmets to do, but I have some new helmet accessories and stuff to do. What's my favorite 32? Of all the 32s I own, of which I only own a couple, but I really, really like my Ruby. I have a Ruby that actually has 3 magazines that work in it, that are all serialized to the Ruby itself, which is awesome. It's an Ibarra made Ruby. They're one of the nicer Ruby makers from World War I in Spain there. The cool thing about this Ruby, though, is it was sent to Finland in the interwars, of which France actually sold a bunch of Rubies to Finland during the interwar period. And so it's a Finnish property marked Ruby as well, on top of being one that was used by the French in World War I. It was used by the Finns through World War II, it's a neat piece of history. The bluing on it's really, really nice. It was probably re-arsenaled after World War II and sold off because the bluing on it's too nice and the grips on it are too nice for what it is. but it's a gorgeous ruby. And that was my first 32 handgun I ever bought, and I carried that thing as my carry for a long time. I wish. I'm really trying to find why can't I think of the name of it now? It's a World War I helmet that Austria used. It's the one that has the little round kind of disky thing on the top that's like the vent cover. I can't think of the name for it. I was bidding on the shell of one, an original shell, a couple weeks ago. Didn't somebody wanted it way more than me. They spent way more money than I was willing to pay for just a shell. And it wasn't even a shell that was in that great shape. But I gotta finish my regular. I have a Austrian made M17. I have to put a liner in that and repaint it. Anyways, I have it's a really, really nice piece, my Austrian M17 made by the Warcholaski Tractor Factory, which is kind of nice. So I gotta finish that. That's on the list to finish before I gotta buy some of that stuff from Prairie Flower Leather before he retires, because he's pretty close to retirement, and that stuff will not be available anymore. Is the Hungarian M38 as good a quality as the M35? I like it better than the M35, particularly because it has the little bar on the back to hook it to equipment. Because the cat's eating fuzzies off the floor, so I'm just making sure she's only eating carpet instead of stuff she's not supposed to be. Because she eats a lot of carpet because she's kind of stupid. But I like the M38 better than the M35, because for all intents and purposes, they're pretty much the same exact helmet. They really are the exact same helmet, pretty much made out of pretty much the same steel. They're pretty much the same exact shape. They're actually almost identical shape-wise and layout and liner and all this other stuff. But I do like having that little loop in the back that you can route a strap through to hook it to your equipment, because when I was in the military, I went to mountain warfare. I was a mountain warfare soldier, and hardly ever wore my helmet unless you had to, because it's just much more strain on your neck. So being able to just lash your helmet to like a strap on your bag or something and knowing it's secure and not putting stress on the chin strap and stuff is really nice. Yeah, exactly. It's like, speaking of Norwegian Crags, I put a bid on one too not too long ago, and somebody wanted it way more than me. It was an unmolested one, and it was the long rifle. What are you doing? Stay out of stuff. There's harsh chemicals over there you shouldn't be eating. Behave. No. Come here. Leave that alone. You behave. So, and no biting. Had to paddle you enough about that. Hey, I will spank you in front of the internet. No, I didn't get to go to Iraq. So, and Mike went a couple of years before I did. He was in Iraq in like 2008, and I was in Afghanistan in like 2013, 2014. So, are you precious? You're sure purring a lot like you're precious. You just want some attention. You're a little attention vampire, aren't you? Yes, you are. Okay. You go play with the toys. No, go play. No, leave that alone. I'm going to take it away from you. Yep, see, that's what happens. So, all right, back to my drinky drink. Well, she's just... Stop eating stuff. She's so used to being alone all day because I work all day. And so, what are you doing? Get out of there. Hey, Get out of there. You can't be behind the guns. You're going to knock them over. Scoot. Go. Don't make me put you in the bathtub. You behave. Do I stack PMs? Depends on what you mean by PMs. I worked all day today, so I'm kind of burnt out. I worked the last 7 days in a row, so except for Sunday, but that was my one day off, and I spent it wrestling a battery into my car. No, I don't really have any precious metals. I got a 1 ounce gold bar that somebody convinced me to buy 10 years ago, and so I have that. I bought a 1 ounce gold bar back when they were $1,500. That's all I have. 1 ounce gold bar. Other than that, I have a shit ton of lead and a shitload of copper. Which, by the way, I have a question to ask you guys. I'm trying really hard to get a new 22. So I know it's almost 5,000 now. Yeah, it's a lot. So I made money on it. I'm still just holding on to it though. But so it was a good investment to buy that one. But I've never been one to do that. But I'm looking at getting a new 22. So I could always go for the bog standard. I could get a Ruger 1022 classic, or I could get I really want to get a Winchester 62 or a Winchester 63. I really want both of those just because I'm a big Winchester guy, and I'll use them. But I'm really thinking. I'm kind of torn between, do I get a bolt action one? First of all, do I get a bolt action or a semi-auto? Because right now my only 22 is this one, and it's a JC Higgins semi-automatic tube fed, and it's pretty much shot out. Barrel's basically smoothbore in that thing. It's had probably 200,000 rounds through it because it was my dad's way back in the day. Don't really want a lever action. I've never been a big lever action fan, but I'm torn between bolt action or semi-auto, and I really am do I get a Ruger 1022 or do I get one of the new Winchester Wildcats, which I hear a lot of good stuff about, because they, for one, they're all steel construction. They have match grade chambers, and hey, get out of there before you hang yourself in those cords. Come here. Come here. God damn it. Yeah, you're already wrapped up in the cords. I know. Hey, how about we don't be stupid? How about we don't be so stupid? I know, you're pretty stupid though, but you're cute. But you're really stupid. You eat a lot of carpet, which probably isn't good for you. Behave. No, I'll paddle you. So yeah, I haven't decided if I want to get one of the Winchester Experts or a Ruger 1022 or a Winchester Wildcat or something like that. And then I'm torn. Do I get one in? Get out of here. Stop. Come here. You got to get paddled, Joe. I told you not to. Behave. That's right. You go pout now. So I'm torn also, and it's I'm a big fan of all copper for the environmental impact. I'm not in a state that bans lead or anything, but when I'm out hunting, actually hunting, I use all copper ammo because it's better for the environment. I don't want something eating the gut pile and getting lead poisoning. And also there's a lot of studies that show that if you shoot an animal with one of those frangible lead core bonded bullets or something like that, it actually, their bloodstream, if you don't instantly drop them, transports a lot of lead through their whole body, the animal's whole body, and you can start eating lead. And so it's I've been a big proponent of actually hunting with copper for a long time, and there isn't any makers of all copper 22 long rifle anymore. So Winchester came out with the 21 Sharp, which is it's still a 22 long rifle case, but rather than having that like rebated rim, like that healed bullet on a 22 long rifle, it's just a 21 caliber slid into a 22 long rifle case. So I'm kind of torn between going for the 21 sharp or sticking it out with the 22. But they only make a couple rifles in the 21 sharp, two, the Winchester Expert, and then Savage makes a rifle, and they're both bolt actions in 21 sharp. There isn't any semi-autos that I'm aware of yet in 21 sharp. But the cool thing about the Winchester Wildcat over the which is the semi-auto Winchester, the new semi-auto Winchester 22, it's about the same price as a Ruger 1022. But it comes with an integrated rail. It comes with a match grade chamber. It'll take 1022 magazines. You can get the big 1022 magazines to put in it. And one thing that I really like about it has a steel receiver, whereas the 1022 has an aluminum receiver, and it doesn't come with an integrated rail. So you have to put the rail on it, and a lot of people strip because I've seen people do it. I know so many people have 1022s, and they strip the threads out of the receiver to mount the rails because it's an aluminum receiver. So I kind of like that the Winchester Wildcat comes with a Picatinny rail integrated into the receiver, and it's all steel. I'm a big fan of steel. I like steel and wood on my guns. So as you can tell by my collection of old steel and wood guns. But I would prefer, if I had to choose the loading mechanism, I've only ever owned 22s that are tube fed, and I kind of would like a magazine. So that's why I'm kind of like torn between, a bolt action magazine fed or a semi-auto magazine fed. The only reason is because I've dealt with tube magazine ones for so long. Like this thing here has an aluminum tube in it. This J.C. Higgins I got. It's made in 1952. It has an aluminum tube in it, and it's bent. So it goes into the gun, but you have to want it, because the magazine tube, you have to take it out of the gun, and it hangs way out of the gun, and you could ding it on something or whatever. And since it's aluminum and it's a thin little tube, it bends pretty easy. And so now it has a slight bend in it, and it doesn't want to go in the gun very nice. So that's why I was like, I want to get rid of that altogether and just have a magazine. If there was a really nice tube-fed one, I'd get a nice tube-fed one again, but I would very much like a magazine, I think. So because I shoot a lot of squirrels. So right now, that J.C. Higgins is just so shot out that it's so smooth bore that it's not really good anymore. So I've been using the 22 Hornet to shoot rabbits and squirrels, but this is kind of a bit overkill for rabbits and squirrels. This is also what I shot my deer with this year, because I just wanted to do it. It's the smallest legal cartridge you can hunt with in Minnesota. Minnesota lets you hunt with 22 caliber firearms. It's the smallest caliber you can deer hunt with. Their one regard is that it has to be center fire, and this is the smallest center fire 22 you can get. So I did it just to kind of say I did it, and because it's like baby 30-30, and I happen to have a Hornady Monoflex here in 30-30, which is my normal go-to deer rifle. Both of these I actually have in the same rifle. They're both Winchester 54s. One's in 30-30 and one's in 22 Hornet. So, but it needs something that's a little bit less powerful than the 22 Hornet to squirrel hunt, because this spring I want to shoot a bunch of squirrels. Old school Sig 522. How much are those around here though? Because I'm looking for something that's kind of cheap. I don't want to spend a shit ton of money. .22 Magnum. Oh, I don't really have any 22. I don't really have any 22 Magnum stuff. I got 22 Hornet. I don't really need 22 Magnum. I have 22 Hornet. So I have two Winchester 54s that have been getting the most use for me in the last couple hunting seasons. Two Winchester 54s, one in 22 Hornet, which is actually a really rare gun because 22 Hornet came out in 1935, and the Winchester 54 was discontinued in 1936. So they made them for less than a year in 22 Hornet. So that's a really rare one I have. And then I have one Winchester 54 in 30-30, which is probably my favorite round other than through British. So heck yeah, that's something to look into. That's what I've been torn between. Do I go for Ruger or do I go for the new Winchesters for 22s? That's the thing. Or like I said, do I go for the 21 Sharp because I can get the Winchester Expert, which is the bolt action, in 21 Sharp because I'm big, like I said, of all coppers. I've eaten a lot of lead in my life from shooting animals with lead projectiles. But see, Moose, I literally just paddled you for that. You come right back and do it. Shit. But 17 Hornet is a cool round. And the Winchester's got great reviews because they're compatible with 1022 magazines, which is awesome. So you can get all the 1022 magazines into the Rugers. And you can get them in 21 Sharp, which will load into 1022 Ruger magazines just fine. Well, if I had to get one, I would get the Expert in, because I don't like that really lightweight skeletonized stock either. I kind of had some gripes about that. Yeah, 17 Winchester Super Mag. I do like the Winchester Super Mag. Moose, get out of here! Stop fucking with the wires. But like they do make an Expert with a wood stock that is a more like conventional looking stock, and that's probably the one I would get, Alexi. But I haven't got into the 17s either, but I hear phenomenal things about the 17s. Phenomenal things. I know. I think people are sleeping on the 22 Winchester Super Mag and the 17 Winchester Super Mag. I don't. I think people are sleeping on those. I think it's going to be a great stock. I just consider any pistols for like hunting. Probably not. I want something kind of with a longer sight radius. Yeah, here. I don't know if you can see that, Alexi. That's the Winchester Expert with the wood stock. That's probably the one I would get if I had to get one. So, but yeah, I'm not too sure yet. Do I go the Ruger route or do I go the Winchester route? And then I really am considering the 21 Sharp. Because if worst comes to worst, 21 Sharp goes away and I just have somebody bored out to 22, you know, it wouldn't be hard to do because it's already the same chamber as 22 long rifle. It just needs to get bored out to 22 instead of 21. But 21 Sharp comes in all copper and it's actually moving. It's got way more performance than yeah, I hear the bolts can be a little gritty till the gun gets kind of broke in. But that's a lot of the new rifles, and for like $340, what am I expecting if it needs to be a little bit smoothed out? But I hear a lot of good things about them, and obviously the 1022 and the Ruger ones are proven over and over again. But I'm still debating 21 Sharp, and I don't know why. I really wish it would be no contest. I'd get a 22 long rifle for sure. Well, I'm not looking for power. I'm looking for like a plinking gun, like a squirrel gun. I'm not looking to blow them out of the tree. I've been blowing squirrels out of the tree with the 22 Hornet now for the last year and a half. That's a bit much. I'm trying to dial it back because I need something that's not as shot out as the JC Higgins back there. I could always just rebarrel the JC Higgins, I guess. But the cost of rebarreling the JC Higgins would be the same as buying a new rifle. So, but I hear good things about 21 Sharp. Those little bullets, you get way more performance out of them, and they're a way higher BC. They have a lot less wind deflection, way more foot-pounds of energy, way more velocity than 22 long rifle. And it comes in all copper offering. And the only thing keeping me from buying it, for sure, just writing it off, is that there's no solid copper 22 long rifle out there. It's a good choice, Alexi. Tor 62C is pretty good. Can't complain. So, unless you know somebody out there who's going to start making, that's what I'm thinking. I want to get a Winchester 63 for sure, as a collector's piece. Been shopping around for one in like good shape for a while with some like nicer wood on it. For sure, I'm gonna get a Winchester 63 eventually. It's been on the to get list for a long time, but I need something a little more practical, something a little more modern, something with a little more performance. And I absolutely shooting squirrels with that. Made 1952 for a long time. But unless you guys know somewhere I can get my hands on a pretty good amount of solid copper 22 long rifle, I'm really considering the 21 Sharp. Yeah, they made the Winchester 63 for forever. Everyone had one back in the day. They're all over. They're not even really all that expensive. If you want a really, really nice one, you're gonna pay for it. But like, it's a really, really good semi-automatic 22. So, but I'm trying to avoid the tubes, because that's the big problem I have with this thing is the tube. So I'm trying to look for a magazine fed, something I can put optics on easily if I so choose. And that's pretty much it. Something that takes a magazine. And then, yeah, 22. If somebody wants to start making, we got to petition CCI to bring back the all copper 22 long rifle, because now more than ever there's a market for it, which is why Winchester made the 21 Sharp, is because there's more and more states banning lead for hunting. So, and I've been a big proponent of all copper for a long time. The only season I really don't use all copper for is muzzleloader. I like the classic old lead for muzzleloader. Be a fan. Have be some more Pendleton here. It's not that I have anything against the tube. It's just that this one I've had to fight with for so long because the tube is bent slightly on it that I want to just not have to worry about that ever again. So, And the other thing is like if I get something magazine fed, I can just get a couple magazines. And I can keep loaded magazines in my pocket. Because when I'm out squirrel hunting, there's usually a bunch of squirrels out there. And I want to make a lot of quick shots. So if I have to stop and I have to pull this fucking tube out and slide them in one at a time, then put the tube in and turn it or whatever, that's a big waste of time. Whereas if I have a magazine, I can just pop it out, throw a new one in. You know? And I'm saying that as a guy who's basically an old fud. I like a lot of old fucking guns. Like old guns. Like my hunting shotgun over there in the corner. You can't see it. It's a old as fuck Winchester Model 12 heavy duck. Okay. With the 32-inch barrel. Thing is, no finish left on it. It's older than fuck. Love the thing. Great. Has an extra full choke on it. I blow ducks out of the sky with it. The other thing I hunt with is a fucking Greener GP. So I don't know. I got some Ruger 1022 mags that'll hold like 800 rounds. So it's, you know, to be fair, Moose. To be fair, I have been shooting squirrels with Winchester 54 and 22 Hornet that only holds 5. So for the last year and a half. So it is ridiculous, and I never would bring an 800 round magazine because I'm a big fan of like the sportingness of it. But I'm also looking for something that I'm not afraid to drag through brush. That I'm not afraid to get wet and dirty. And a lot of these kind of older, nicer guns, I don't want to get full of fucking cow shit, really acidic cow shit, and, you know, gritty fucking mud and gross fucking mosquito larva filled water, pond scum and shit like that, and then drag it through a shitload of really dense underbrush, because where I live is a fuckload of really dense underbrush, because the gun's going to get marked up to shit. And so if I bring a nice old like blued gun out there, it's just going to get beat to hell. I don't want that. I want to keep it nice. So if I get like a Winchester 63, it's going to be like a good target gun, you know, that I'll take out and shoot and like enjoy, you know, blah, 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 plinking and stuff. But I'm kind of looking at a more modern thing, something I'm not afraid to like beat up on, because it, you know, I'm going to beat up on it just by the nature of where I'm going to be using it. I can be as careful as I fucking want to be, and I'm going to beat up on it. It's just, I'm fine with hunting with classics. Like, I'm fine, especially like in the snow, when it's like a nice dry snow, totally fine bringing my vintage guns out there. Which I'll do a video on my Winchester 54s here, because I had one beautifully reblued and stuff like that. I want to get some new stocks for them, because the stocks have those big kind of like cutouts for the like aftermarket like peep sights that would go on the receivers. So I want to get 2 new stocks made for them. But beautiful Winchester 54s. I have a 1929 and a 1935 made one. So they're great. I love them. They shoot phenomenally. I got a whole bunch of Winchester shotguns. I'm a big Winchester fan. So one of my dream guns is to get a Winchester Model 51. So which, fun fact, was the first Winchester gun ever chambered in the venerable 270 Winchester. Which, by the way, if you didn't know this, 270 Winchester last year turned 100 years old. So, classic. So, but yeah, I'm just because I like to think about something for a long time before I make a decision. I'm never in a rush to like impulse buy or go get anything. I do a lot of homework and a lot of research, and I sit down and I look at everything, you know, and make sure it's all squared away and it's what I want and something I could live with. All these things behind me, none of them are impulse buys. It's all stuff I've sat on for a very, very long time before I bought. So pretty much, it's like I'm a big fan. And it's like I don't own a Winchester 70, but I have two 54s, which they're essentially the same thing. Essentially, for all intents and purposes, the same thing, other than a few kind of tweaks and modifications. But yeah, I don't own anything in 30-06 yet. I'm holding out to buy an International Harvester M1 Garand, but I'll settle for a Winchester if I can't get an International Harvester. But I just don't want to have to go through all of the shit to get one from the CMP, and I really don't want to pay the inflated prices on the secondary market of the people who just scalp them from the CMP and then jack the prices up. If I knew somebody who has like a CMP membership who could just literally go, I'm fine with one of the totally rebuilt ones, like prefer it actually, one of the totally rebuilt ones. If somebody wants to just pick one up, I will fucking pay you for it. Like I will pay you for the gun. If somebody just wants to grab me one of the nice rebuilt, brand new, like barreled, redone stocks and shit like that, I will pay the money that you pay into it, okay, to get one. It would also be the first gun somebody ever got for me as like a present, which would be kind of nice. I've never gotten a gun as a present. I give guns as presents. I just gave my best friend Roy 2 guns for Christmas. Because he's a big Mauser 98 guy, so I gave him a Giha, which is a Mauser 98 converted to a shotgun, which he was really, really stoked to have. So, and I got him a 30-30 bolt action hunting rifle as well, so that way me and him could do a vintage like hunt sometime here in the future with our old 30-30 bolt actions, because I have a 30-30 bolt action, he has a 30-30 bolt action. We'll dress up all old timey and go deer hunting. But nobody's ever got me a gun as a present yet. I'm waiting for the day. I really wish I could show some guns, because I just got done putting the scope on my 1885 high wall. So, which I think Todd will appreciate that. I got an 1885 high wall in the venerable 405 Winchester. So, and I'm hoping to this fall shoot a bison with it. So, yeah, exactly. And it's like, I know quite a few people that have like memberships to the CMP and stuff, and they can go buy a certain amount of rifles per year, from the CMP at a pretty, reasonable rate. It's like, just grab me one, man. Just grab me one. I'll pay you for it, because I don't want to go through all the stuff to like sign up and have to wait and like blah, 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 and all these memberships and all the emails and paperwork and sending it off and yada, yada. I don't have to deal with that just to buy a gun from them. Where am I getting 405 rounds? I bought them all. They're all that Hornady custom that they do limited runs of. I bought 200 rounds. I spent $480 and I bought 200 rounds of 405 Winchester, which is more than a lifetime. So I got it from sgammo.com, which is pretty much my go-to when I'm buying ammo. I buy pretty much all of my ammo from there. Well, it's not pretty lucky to find them. Hornady does runs of them like every other year. They're around. They make them. So, but I'm like, I'm just going to buy a lifetime, because it's not going to get any cheaper. I just bought a lifetime of it, because I just got done putting a scope on it. It's sitting actually kind of right behind the monitor there. It's a beautiful 1885 high wall. Yeah, it's a great company. I buy little, small family business. Always happy to support them. Can't sing their praise enough. Absolutely love them. And I buy pretty much all of my ammo from him. I probably buy, I think last year I probably bought 1,000 rounds of 303 British from him. So, because most of my rifles are in 303 British. So, yeah, I was very happy to have it. I'm hoping to go shoot a bison out here in South Dakota with one. I know a guy who has a ranch out there where he raises bison, big multi-thousand acre ranch in South Dakota there, just south of where Teddy Roosevelt's ranch was out there. And he raises bison, and he said I could come out and shoot one for $2,000. Yeah. I bought some stuff from Buffalo Arms. It's pretty nice. Steinel also makes some very good ammo. And Steinel, props to them, both Buffalo Arms and Steinel, I should say. Props to them for having all that weird stuff. Because that's where I got like the 8x52 Siamese. Well, you're going to be hard-pressed to find those long branches, especially the 1950s ones. So, because I'm like mine is a 1950 produced long branch with the 6-groove rifling, which is really rare. They only did it from 50 to 52, the 6-groove rifling, which were widely regarded as the most accurate Lee Enfields made, was the long branch ones with the 6-groove rifling. And which is really, really nice, because most Canadian ones are 2-groove or 4-groove. And a lot of the British ones are 2-groove or 5-groove. But for 2 years, from 50 to 52, because in 52 they stopped making Lee Enfields at Long Branch. But from late 50 to mid 52, you can find the 6-groove ones, and that's what I would hold out for. Heck yeah. I've always kind of wanted to get one of those like Winchester self-loaders, like the early ones. So, so if you ever want to like handle one, I bring all my Enfields and my Ross and stuff out to the World War II. It's not really like a reenactment, but it's like an event thing. It's like a back to the 40s event that they do one weekend here in July at my local history museum here in Stearns County. And I'm always welcome to get people to come out, because unlike the Americans who show up there, they got Thompsons and BARs and all that other cool stuff. I mean, there's a Canadian group of paratroopers that come down from Edmonton to do this event every year. And so I dress up like a Canadian. I hang out there. And I let people touch all my guns because they're my guns, you know. So, but the Americans, that we have like a whole Marine contingent of people there, that there's usually some like U.S. Army guys from World War II over there doing it too. They put a whole field kitchen up, and people can go and they can pay money to get food at the like actual like World War II like truck field kitchen, which is kind of neat. It's like really cool event, and you can learn a bunch of stuff. And I sit in the Canadian tent with the Canadian paratroopers. And I bring all my guns because they have a lot of like demilled guns, and all mine are like actual guns. And I let kids touch them, and I let people take pictures with them and stuff. It's like, so if any of you are in Minnesota or are willing to make a trip in 1 July, that'd be nice. Well, you can. Well, that's the thing about the Winchester Wildcat. It's the same thing as the Ruger 1022, except instead of an aluminum receiver, I can get a steel receiver. With a Picatinny rail built into it, instead of having to strip out the threaded holes on the top of the 1022 receiver. And the Winchester Wildcat will take 1022 magazines. So I'm just not sure. I'm gonna watch a lot of videos and watch a lot of research before I'm sure. But I basically narrowed it down to like those 4: the Winchester Wildcat, the Winchester Expert, the Ruger 1022, or whatever Ruger's like 22 long rifle bolt action is, that's like based on the 1022. Those 4 are what I have it nailed down to. And I was just looking for some feedback on which one everyone thinks I should get. So, but yeah. And I got to buy a lot more 32 ACP pistols because it's the best pistol round. Just saying, best pistol round. It's pretty darn great. Fair. Well, if shit hits the fan, I'm taking a single shot shotgun. I do need a Savage 1907. I do really need a Savage 1907. I love 32 ACP pistols. I really wish like modern companies were like chambering. I know they're cheap. That's what I love about a lot of 32 ACP pistols. They're cheap and they're so nice. Some of them can be kind of finicky, especially with like modern loaded ammo and stuff. Yeah, so I love 32 ACP pistols. I wish there was more modern guns made in 32 ACP. I'm talking like full frame size kind of guns. Like if somebody made like a SIG 229 in 32 ACP, I could not get my wallet out fast enough to buy it. Which I know like some countries, I know like Japan and some like European countries, they have restrictions. They won't let their police use like 9mm. So they make them use handguns in like 32. But those are so few and far between and they don't make it to the United States. Hear much what? Yeah, you know. So, but it'd be neat to find. And I love 32 ACP. And the thing is because I have really tiny hands. I have very, very tiny hands. So like it's one of the main reasons I don't like Glock is the horrendous ergonomics for somebody like me with tiny hands. So I liked a lot of the like smaller guns. It's like my daily carry gun for the longest time after the Ruby, after I bought a Ruby and I carried a Ruby for a lot of years in 32 ACP. Was this, which is a SIG P230 SL. So I know, and I'd love to get one, but they don't make it here. They don't make it to the United States here very much. So I would very much like to get one. Exactly, like neat stuff like that. I really love the Tokarev. I love my Tokarev. I have the Chinese one. I have the Type 54. Love that thing. Tokarev is a very because the grip is kind of skinnier. It fits in my tiny little hands very nice. So I'm a big fan. But I just like 32 ACP. I can find 32 ACP ammo. I have a ton of 32 ACP ammo. I really like it. It's easy to carry. It has like no recoil. All the guns are neat. They're all quirky in their own way, which is another thing I really like about 32 ACP. But yeah, I carried this after my Ruby, which was really, really nice. I didn't want to keep it like against my body with the bluing. It started to like kind of corrode with all the like acid into like your skin oils and stuff like that. It was kind of starting to change the color of the finish. So I was like, okay, I want to be done carrying that because it's a nice like handgun. It was done very well by the Finns after World War II, so it was kind of a nice historical piece. So I ended up stopping all of that, and I took really good care of it, cleaned it up nice, and now it just kind of sits. It's actually in my nightstand drawer. And then when I started carrying stainless, so that's why I have that SIG P230, and that's in 380, and that fits in my hand really nice. I got those tiny, tiny little hands, so I have to be very cognizant of what handguns I buy because I have tiny little hands. So, and probably my best shooting gun is I got the SIG P210 and the Steyr Hahn. I like those. The Steyr Hahn's actually kind of big in my hand. It doesn't. A lot of like 1911s don't fit really good in my hand. I was kind of really looking at one of those like Star pistols, those like Spanish-made Star pistols, which are like it's like a 7/8 sized, or maybe like a 3/4 size 1911 shrunk down just in 32 ACP. Because I'm like, that probably fit my hand really nice. And it's all the takedown, ergonomics, everything the same as the 1911, but it's just kind of screeched, kind of shrunk a little bit. So I feel like that would be pretty neat. And those are around for cheap too. Those little llamas and the little stars in 32, those 1911s in 32 ACP, those are all over. Those are nice. I haven't got one yet, but I should. Another gun I was really interested in trying is like a Smith & Wesson 39, like a single stack 9mm. That's kind of like 1911 ergonomics. I feel like that would be kind of nice too. But like for as many of them as they made, I've never been in a position where I could like handle one to like try it, because especially with handguns, rifles I can kind of fudge and work with. Like especially with handguns, I really like to hold it before I buy it. You know what I mean? So I'm very leery of buying handguns I haven't held, because I just like to see how they fit in my hand first. Because I got those very big square palms and then the short little fingers. Yeah, those are around too. Also like what is it? The Zastava M70 pistol in 32 ACP. That's been on the to get list for a while too, but I just want to hold it. They're all over. I'm not anti 1911. I'm anti like regular 1911 because they're so big. Is the same reason I'm not a fan of Glock. I'm not a fan of Glock because they're too square and they're too big for my hands, and the sights are too chunky. Whereas like the 1911s, at least the sights are really fine. I like really fine pistol sights. But a 1911 is just, it's too big to be ergonomically viable in my hands, because I have to readjust my grip all the time, because they're just not the right shape and size for my hands. That's all. It's the same main problem I have with Glock. I have to readjust my grip all the time. So, which is why back when I was a police officer, I carried a SIG. They fit much nicer in my hand, because they were nice about, like, they were like, you can carry whatever you want as long as you, as long as it has, at least this magazine capacity, which I think was like 15 rounds, and then it was a 9mm. So they said. I've held both a 1911 and a 1911 A1, and the ergonomics are not right. So I'm not a fan. I could shoot it just fine. Like, I've shot both of Mike's. Mike has an actual 1911 and he has an A1, and I've shot both of them, and they're not for me. So I've also never really been a big 45 guy. So 7 to 8mm. It's where I about to keep pretty much keep all my guns. It's between 7 and 8mm. So all the guns I like to use for the most part. I have other guns that are not, that kind of 30 caliber range, but pretty much all my guns are 7 to 8mm that I really like. Except for the Snider up here. This thing's a beast. It's nice 60 caliber. Just absolute. I've shot a couple of the 5.7s, and it's kind of the same thing as the 1911. I think they're like too long. Like the grips are too long from like back to front to be comfortable for me to hold. So, but I've shot the Ruger, the Smith & Wesson, and an actual FN 5.7. The Smith & Wesson was the nicest one. That one, if I had to buy one, I would probably buy that one, to be honest. But yeah, I didn't ever get to shoot the Caltech one, but I got to shoot the Ruger one, the Smith & Wesson, and an actual Fabrique Nationale one. And ergonomics just weren't there. So, see, now that one would be cool to try. And I bet the next like gun show around here, there'll be one that I can ask to kind of finger fuck a little bit, because I'm a big fan of touching stuff. I like to touch stuff before I buy it, you know, because I'm a big fan of ergonomics. I'm not buying something just because it's powerful or like the history and stuff behind it. I'm a big fan of ergonomics, and I know what I like. So I don't own an FN 1910. I would probably buy one though if one came along in the right price. So there's other guns I want before that, but what do you do for the most part? So we'll go for a little bit longer here because it's almost time to feed the cat. She's getting anxious out there. So I can hear her chewing on the food bag. So we'll wrap it up here in just a couple minutes. Also kind of want one of those like FN 1922s that has that big long like kind of skinny barrel looking thing. I think that'd be kind of cool to have. Especially since you could find the Nazi marked ones here in the United States for pretty cheap. So, which, speaking of like World War II 32s, I really want like a Mauser HSC. I feel like that would be, everyone's like the Walther, you know, like the PPs and the PPKs. I think the Mauser HSC. I would like a Mauser HSC over a PP or a PPK. And they just started making the PP again. I knew what you meant. But yeah, I think it'd be cool to have a 1922. So, which is just the improved version of the 1910 and the 1912. So, wow, what's wrong with the HSC? Oh, she's getting into a bunch of stuff out there. So I'll probably have to wrap it up here. So any last comments, questions, concerns, and stuff like that before I go see what the cat's getting into and get her some food? And then I gotta, it's on the list. If I get an early day this week to clean up a space to shoot some videos, and then Sunday I want to film at least 2 videos and get them both edited so I can get them up on the channel. So that's the plans. That is the plans, because the rest of the days this week shouldn't be too strenuous as today was. So it should be, if I get the next 2 days kind of early, I can try to get all of my stuff done for the week, and then I'll have Thursday, Friday to adjust a spot to film videos and get everything kind of set up to do that, and then Sunday I can film and edit all day. Well, alrighty. I think we'll call it there. I appreciate each and every one of you for stopping by. It means the world to me, especially helping me kind of figure out some stuff on the list of guns to get. So I appreciate it. It helps a lot. I like your guys' feedback and all that other good jazz. So thank you for stopping by. I look forward to seeing you all again very shortly here in the future. So talk to you later. Bye-bye.